Now it has arbitrary direction. Thus, if we have a 0 vector, then its direction is not defined. It can have any possible direction. The second is a unit vector. A unit vector is a vector of unit magnitude, or a vector whose magnitude is equal to 1. Now unit vectors are represented by small letters and a cap on them. So if we say that A is any unit vector, then it is represented this way. We can clearly see that this is written in small letter and we can see a cap on this letter A. Thus this represents a unit vector. Remember, the magnitude of a unit vector is equal to 1. Now dividing any vector by its magnitude results in a unit vector along the direction of that vector. So if we have any vector A, let us say that its magnitude is represented this way, modulus of A. Now if we divide any vector A by its modulus, then we get a unit vector which is along the direction of the original vector. So this unit vector, which is A cap, is equal to 1 in magnitude and is along the direction of this vector A. So if we want to have a unit vector in the same direction of the parent vector, then what we do is we divide the original vector by its magnitude. The third is parallel vectors. Now two vectors are said to be parallel if they have the same direction. So we see that AB, CD are parallel to each other, or they are in the same direction, because these vectors are parallel. Here we see that FE is in opposite direction to AB, so this is anti-parallel. AB and CD are parallel to each other and FE is anti-parallel to AB, which is actually opposite in direction to the direction of AB and CD. The fourth is collinear vectors. Now vectors which have the same initial or terminal point and are parallel to each other are called as collinear vectors. Now we already know what are collinear points. Similar is the case with the collinear vectors. So if we say that these points A, O, B, C are collinear to each other, then the vector OA, OB, OC are collinear to each other because they have the same initial or terminal point and are parallel to each other. That is, they lie along the same line. If we consider AC as a line, then we see that OA, OB, OC are all along the same line. So vectors which are along the same line or which have the same initial and terminal points and are parallel to each other are called as collinear vectors. The next is equal vectors. Now we have already seen that equal vectors have the same magnitude and direction. Now if we say that any two vectors AB and CD are equal to each other, then we mean that they have the same magnitude and they have the same direction. So vectors having the same magnitude and direction are called as equal vectors. The next is co-initial vectors. So co-initial vectors are the vectors with the same initial point. In this figure we clearly see that OA, OB, OC are co-initial vectors because they have the same initial point, which is O. So such vectors which have the same initial point are called as co-initial vectors. Now let's try to understand the algebra of vectors. The first is addition of vectors. Now we know how to add two numbers, but do we really know how to add two vectors, or is it possible to add two vectors? Yes, it's definitely possible to add vectors, but how? Let's try to understand this. The vector addition of any two vectors x and y resulting in x plus y is called as the resultant of x and y. So first of all, the addition of x and y resulting into another vector x plus y is called as the resultant of x and y. So the first thing is, if two vectors are added, then the result is another vector, and this is known as the resultant of x and y. Now what is the procedure to find the addition of two vectors? Is it the same as addition of two numbers? No, it's a bit different. What we do is, we take any representation of vector x with A as the initial point and B as the terminal point. So we draw any vector x with A as initial point and let us say that B is its terminal point. Let us say that y is the other vector which we need to add to vector x. So what we do is, we draw vector y such that the starting point of vector y is B and end point is, let us say, C. Then x plus y is nothing but the vector AC. That is the initial point of vector x joined to the end point of vector y. Let's try to understand it more clearly. let us say that x and y are the two vectors which we need to add. Let us say that A is the initial point of vector x and B is the terminal point of vector x. Now let us say that this is a vector y. Now we can draw infinitely many vectors which are equal to y, such that they have the same magnitude and the same direction as this vector. So we draw a vector which is equal to vector y but with B as its initial point. So this is the vector y with B as initial point. Let us say that C becomes its end point. So the vector AC, which is the initial point of vector x and the final point of vector y, is known as the resultant of x and y. Or let us say that this is the vector z, which is equal to x plus y. Thus, to add two vectors x and y, what we do is we first draw the vector x, then with the end point of vector x as the starting point, we draw another vector y, and we join the initial point of vector x with the end point of vector y to get the resultant vector x plus y. Now let's see some of the properties of this vector addition. Now if we have got any two vectors a and b, then the first property is a plus b is equal to b plus a. That is, the commutative law holds here. The second is a plus bracket of b plus c is equal to bracket of a plus b plus c. Thus this is known as the associative law, and it also holds. This property holds for numbers as well as vectors. The third is a plus minus of a vector is equal to 0. Now minus of a vector is nothing but a vector which is equal in magnitude to vector a, but it is in opposite direction to vector a. So if we add two vectors such that they are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, then their sum is equal to 0, and this is known as the additive inverse. The fourth property is vector a plus a 0 vector is equal to vector a. Now this is additive identity. The fifth property is k times a plus b is equal to k times vector a plus k times vector b. Here k is any scalar quantity. So this is not a vector, it is a scalar quantity, and when it is multiplied with the sum of a plus b, then this is equal to k times vector a plus k times vector b, and this is known as the multiplication by a scalar. The next property is k1 plus k2 times x is equal to k1x plus k2x. Your x is any vector and k1 and k2 are any two scalar quantities. So this is known as the distributive property of scalar multiplication. So these were some of the properties of vector addition. Now position vector of any point. So what is position vector? Let us say that this is the axis. Now we know that origin is the point of intersection of the two axes x and y. So it is a fixed point. Now if we have any point P, then this vector OP is equal to A is called as the position vector of P with respect to O. Thus we have seen that if we have any vector, then we can have as many vectors equal to that particular vector. This is because we do not have two fixed points in the space. If we fix any point in the space, let us say that this fixed point is O, then this vector OP becomes unique. So to make the position of any point P as unique, what we do is we fix this point O, and thus this vector A is called as the position vector of P with respect to O, and so vector A is called as the position vector of point P with respect to O. Let us say that this is the vector A, which is OA. Let us say that this is the vector B, which is OB. Now OA plus AB is equal to OB. Now this is because of the triangle law which we have just seen. So this vector plus this vector would be equal to the resultant vector, which is OB. So AB would be equal to OB minus OA. Now O is the fixed point, so OB would be equal to the vector B, and the vector OA would be equal to the vector A. So AB would be equal to vector B minus vector A. Now B is nothing but the position vector of the point B, and similarly A is nothing but the position vector of the point A. So if we have the position vectors of 2 points A and B, then the vector between these 2 points, which is AB, is equal to the position vector of the point B minus the position vector of the point A. So if we want to find the vector AB, then this is equal to the position vector of point B minus the position vector of point A. Similarly, if I want to find the vector BA, then this is equal to the position vector of A minus the position vector of point B. Thus, if we know the position vector of 2 points, then the vector between these 2 points can be known. The next is the section formula. Now we have studied the section formula in coordinate geometry. So we are going to study the same concept in vectors, and the first is internal division. So let us say that this is the vector A, which is equal to OA. This is the vector B, which is equal to OB, and we have any line AB. Let us say that C is any point between A and B, and such that C divides AB in the ratio of m:n. So this is a case of internal division, where C divides the segment AB into 2 parts which are in the ratio of m:n. That is, AC by CB is equal to m by n. Now if we want to find out the position vector of this point C, where the position vectors of the points A and B is given as A and B, then the position vector of C would be equal to OC, which is equal to m times B plus n times A divided by m plus n. Now you may see that this is similar to the formula which we studied in coordinate geometry. So once again, if we have any point C which divides the points A and B, which divides the points A and B in the ratio of m:n, then the position vector of the point C is given by m times B plus n times A divided by m plus n, where m:n is the ratio in which the point C divides the segment AB. Similarly, if we have the external division, that is, C divides AB externally in the ratio of m:n, then in this case the position vector of point C is given by m times B minus n times A divided by m plus n. Here B and A are the position vectors of the points B and A respectively. So if we have any point C which divides AB externally in the ratio of m:n, then the position vector of this point C is given by m times B minus n times A divided by m plus n, where B and A represents the position vectors of the points B and A. Now the next is coplanar vectors. Now what are coplanar vectors? We see that this is a plane. Now this vector, this vector, this vector, all these 3 vectors lie in this blue plane. So we can say that all these 3 vectors are coplanar vectors. Thus coplanar vectors lie in the same plane, and that is the definition of coplanar vectors. Now vectors in one dimension. If we take only one dimension, then how are vectors represented? This is a vector, this is a vector, this is a vector. Now the best possible representation of vectors in one dimension is the real line as the figure shows below. So if vectors lie in one dimension, so they must lie along a line. So this line is a real number line. This can be a vector with a magnitude of 1. This can be a vector with a magnitude of 2. Similarly, this is a vector which is equal in magnitude, that is equal to 1 to this vector, but this is opposite in direction. Similarly, this is a vector, and so we can say that all these vectors which lie in one dimension, they lie along a real number line. Now we can say that a vector